Okay, good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Orange Board of Finance. Today's Monday, June 15th, and we'll call the meeting to order at 7:03. Let's start by having everyone introduce themselves, beginning on my right.
Kevin McNabola.
Tom Kraus.
John Cifarelli, Finance Director.
Rick Binkowski, Finance Director, Orange VNA.
Corinne Lewis, Assistant Finance Director.
Deb Satonic.
Joe Nuzzo.
Jim Leahy.
And Kevin Houlihan, thank you very much. Item number 3, public dialogue. Everyone's here for later on, okay? Item number 4, Amity update. Mr. Nuzzo.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Quick switch over here.
So we had an Amity Finance Committee last Monday night. And so talked about a bunch of different requests for financing.
There you go, Joe.
Good. So the first order of business, Chartwells has been doing the cafeteria for a bunch of years. We're entering our 5th and final year of the contract with them, so we're looking to extend it for one extra year. Increase is about 3.5% with those guys. So we awarded them a one-year contract extension for 26-27 to Compass Group, that's Chartwells, known as Chartwells. So that was taken care of. And then some of the bigger items of the night were the Amity Regional High School Library Media Center, which we've talked about before. They have chosen A Pre-Construction Company, which is the lowest bidder at just under $2.5 million.
Hey, Joe,
Yes.
I can't help but notice the word responsible in there, and, it's an obvious tip-off. Does that mean they were the lowest bidder, or the lowest bidder that some category of people called responsible?
I'm not sure. Responsible probably should be in quotes, but I'm not quite sure how that got put in there, but it is in there.
Yeah,
Is
the
that
word
an
should be,
industry
the
standard?
word should be, the word should be the lowest qualified.
It's qualified.
bidder.
Qualified.
Qualified.
Well, since they didn't use qualified, and she's pretty smart, I have a hunch that we don't have a list of a top to bottom of the highest to lowest anywhere in this presentation.
Well, I'm sure you can get it, yeah. It's just not
Maybe
here
the
tonight.
Board of Ed
Yeah,
had it,
yeah,
but we
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
have it. Yeah, we get the summary. We don't get all the details. But there are 18 contractors attended the walkthrough, and 6 responded with.
Joe, if I may make a
Sure.
point.
Sure.
You're the Amity Finance Committee. If
Yes.
you guys aren't getting the data, I don't know how some on earth we would assume that the board would be getting the data, because that's your purview. Just saying.
Yeah. So I have not seen the board. This is basically the board package, but if they ask for it, they may be a list of contractors. But
Okay, anyway.
we don't know who the other 5 were. So that was that. So we recommended that to go to the Board of Ed. Amity Middle School Bethany exercise equipment update. I guess the phys ed room has outdated equipment compared to Amity Middle School Orange. And there was, the recommendation is to purchase just under $30,000 of new equipment, which will be funded with Medicaid reimbursement funds, which will exhaust the current fund balance. So
See, Joe, when I read this, I feel like I'm getting transparency here, right? Third lowest bidder, we feel it's the best, here's the number.
24,053, that was the range.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And you got it, we ended at 30,000. So yes, that definitely seems transparent. So we made the motion there. Also, they were updating some bus routing software, district-wide. And I guess trying to modernize the bus route process and communication operations. So that was also considered and voted upon. That price, we're entering into agreement with Tyler Technologies for their bus software at a price, first year utilization price of about $33,000, as you can see here. Student accident insurance, covering students during sporting events and the like. So Acrisure is the provider for the insurance and the catastrophic injury at the bid price of about $74,000, and then $2,900 respectively there. So that was our motion that we made to cover the students
Wow, that's a
involved in
lot.
activity. Yeah, it's expensive.
Wow.
Yeah, but again,
Are you familiar with that, Kev, over in?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that company, yeah.
I mean, but
Acrisure.
those price ranges, I'm surprised by that. I didn't realize it was that high.
Yep.
Okay.
You see the range, Jim, 74 to 130.
Yeah, it's a big range.
Yeah. So, I don't know what our claims have been, we didn't get into that much detail on this, but, so that was that one.
Now, did they decide on that one?
That was a bid too.
We solicited bids,
Yeah.
and I guess their
I guess
consultant, the
they-
insurance consultant,
Well,
trending much higher.
no, but I'm seeing the bids, right, they got a range. Our current premium, that tells me a current state.
57.5 for
The
current.
budgeted amount is this, where the budget amount comes in when you're talking about all the bids, God bless America, but I'm not seeing, we picked this one.
Yeah, they did, Acrisure.
Or in the bottom, bottom,
the
thank you,
bottom.
Kevin, I
Yeah,
was
it's
looking in
74K.
the body copy, thank you.
So Acrisure is the current provider, which was.
Which is the
bidder,
lowest
yeah.
one, it looks like,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so, and they're about 10,000 off on the, what they have, for the budgeted amount, okay.
And the power washing, in the regional high school. Power washing, masonry, sealing, joint caulking, and then masonry step restoration for the high school. You'll see that there. The total proposal was just under $80,000. The funding's come from 3 different sources.
Yeah.
You see the DRIP grant,
Right,
the 27 budget item, and the remaining 28,000 from 26 funds.
okay,
Transfer leading the packet.
okay,
Strategic planning support. It was a board-led strategic planning process, looking to establish a shared vision and long-term direction for the region, as you can see there. So I guess they've been working on it for a while. And again, going to include multiple board and stakeholder engagement sessions, focus groups, surveys, interviews, document reviews, et cetera. So pretty intensive strategic plan that we're going to undertake. And-
which category or which subgroup, like you guys got finance, other people got facilities, who is the sub-team, or if you wanna call it, that this one is going to report to?
we didn't talk about that, Jim, not sure. Board-led, I don't know if there's a committee there. I'm
Okay.
not sure who's on that committee.
Committee,
Yeah, we didn't
okay.
discuss the members of that committee.
Could you find out?
We can find out, sure.
Good, thank you.
So enter into the agreement with Partners for Educational Leadership for 57.5 for the strategic plan. And then this was the, little bit about the financials here. So as of now, the surplus is only about just under $400,000. So they may have a difficult time getting to the million, the 2%, we'll see. And we're not sure how much.
By the way,
money-
if you hit that X over on the left-hand side up there, Joe, it'll give you more room. No, not that one there,
This
yeah,
one,
yeah,
Yeah,
good.
okay. Yeah, so as of now, the surplus is a lot less than it's been in years past, so we'll see how.
Could you leave this up here just for a second?
Sure. Salaries, again, favorable at 570
Yep, I'm reading it,
up here.
yep.
Benefits, 111, which is usually where it comes from anyway, the surplus for the most part. Unfavorable here with supplies.
Yeah. Why don't we slide down to the details of this, because that's where the action is. Okay, so there's the revenue, so that's all revenue, so we're favorable, we're getting, well, we'll,
Couple hundred
what's
K.
that stuff up at the top? Oh, because, okay, they sent money back to the towns, I guess they think of it that way. So 124,000 state grants, is driving the 217, and 60 grand in investment income, favorable. Okay, so 60 and, all right, that makes up for the 200. Okay, so if we do it by category, salaries are 570, nothing changed since last time. 111 on benefits, and the medical and dental is a little bit over, under by 90,000. Okay, all right, thank you. And purchase services, so this is an interesting one. They got 203 unfavorable, and transportation's unfavorable, 175, but tuition expense is 380.
Yeah.
That's a little counterintuitive, because if tuition expense goes down, usually your pupil transportation, is a special ed, usually goes down. So my question would be, were I sitting there when they presented this, I would say, help me understand why the tuition expense goes down, but your pupil transportation goes up. And then you have your professional and technical, whatever you know, there's more words that we probably would learn. Now, that would be in the Word document that accompanies this, that I no longer, for some reason, am on the email for, we have established.
Jody, you might be using grants to offset some of that tuition expense.
Okay.
That could be. You could ask him, yeah.
That would usually be in the revenue account rather
Yeah.
than in the expense. Let's see, and supplies, all right, it gone unfavorable in the last bit. You can see that column 4 gives you the delta of the unfavorable.
Utilities are off by 253 unfavorable
Yeah,
too.
I see that.
And that's with the solar they put up there.
Roger that. Okay, district contingency, 53 and 53A.
Natural gas unfavorable too. Yeah, cost of gas.
Okay, so they have a district contingency and a facilities contingency. So we
So
now
it's
have two
150,
contingencies
yeah,
totaling
yeah.
$250,000, beyond, other things. Okay, thank you, Joe, that,
Okay.
and appreciate your patience.
No, it's perfect.
Okay, and we have not transferred anything yet. Okay. And that's the 180 favorable with the two, all right, so at this moment in time, they're telling us a little under 400,000. Okay,
So there won't be anything coming back to the town.
Probably not.
well, they've had wide swings in the past, but we'll see,
Yeah, this year seems
in the
like
last couple of
not
months,
so much
but
this year.
maybe, maybe not. Let's see what the words up there say, Joe, because that's usually when they talk about it. Okay, previously 440.
Unspent
The
funds
board
of almost
may
900.
approve appropriate
town
appropriate
allocations.
be shown among the Excel files available. Okay, funds requested August, September meeting, they're hedging there. Okay, I thought it was always September, they had changed it. Okay, thank you, Joe.
See some of the summaries here.
Yeah,
We'll get-
we'll,
we
we
don't
can
need to
go on
through all that.
forever, I
We're gonna
think.
go into the medical dental.
Yeah,
Here,
well, that's the
That's a big
220.
one here, 104%, 25, 26.
Yeah, last
Yeah.
month was favorable, right? Yeah, the budget. And this month, it depends on whether we spend 432.
So we'll see
Last
how that
year's
number comes
actual
in.
was 486, so,
Similar last year.
yeah, we'll see. It looks like it's not gonna come under 100, that's for
Yeah.
sure. How about that one, Joe? the
You
second
seeing
one?
that too, Kev, and Marion?
No, it's not gonna come under, yeah.
You see the medical, Kevin, expenses?
Yeah.
A little high?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just.
Well,
Yeah.
hold on. What we're saying though is this, in this second chart, we can see, let me see, okay, I think they have the header wrong here, Joe. I believe that we're talking the actual of this year, so it would be 25.
Oh, yeah, that, we noted that mistake in
Yeah, I've
last week's
seen that
meeting.
mistake now
Yes,
for 3 months, I think.
actual, yep.
But anyway, it's saying that the budget is 633, and we've only spent, with 1 month to go, 213, which would be a highly favorable 419. So you could kind of look at the two as together, and you could say 221 on the negative side or positive side, depending on how you look at it, and then a 419 to the good side, so you're about 200,000 to the good side, right? In aggregate of the two.
All right, so that's, I don't know if we want to see anything else over here.
I want to
Tuition
see the
expense.
budget and forecast of the last two columns on this thing, if you go all the way down to the bottom. Okay, so they budgeted for 17, it looks like they landed on 22, that's a big difference. And that's a large number
So
compared to
the
the
sound
last 2
school has
years.
one more.
Yeah, you could see it, but Emmett
Right,
O'Brien
O'Brien's
picked up 3, yeah,
Couple down, so a
Yeah.
couple here and there.
okay.
All right, so the rest is,
There's the thing Kevin was talking about is, it must be the price, John, is the, because we had a negative variance for power, I think, on one of the things, and yet we didn't, it looks like we were over or under? How to read this, Kevin?
This is over,
Over?
yeah. Forecasting 4,000,001 versus 3,000,004. for 26,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah,
Forecast,
if you
or the
look at-
forecast means, they're
Projected,
kind of
yeah, right,
actual
yeah,
for
right,
11 months, right,
right.
Kev?
Yeah.
On the forecast column?
Looks that way, because
Looks it like that.
looks
yeah,
like
I
they're
might have-
bolded, yeah.
It seems like you might have called it actual, but anyway, whatever you call it, that's the reality of it. So you got 4 million, okay, so you're almost 700,000 kilowatts up.
It's not even close.
It says there's 5,600 degree days, 5,700 degree days versus 5,032 last year.
Degree days,
Sure, the
meaning.
winter's been
Wintertime.
colder, so
Yeah,
you
it's
have
cold,
more.
a lot colder.
If you look, if you look in our electric accounts and our different budget items, they're all over also.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is over by over 20%. 10% of 33 million, that's gonna be 337, double that. You're already over 20% once you get to 670, 675. That's surprising. Since the degree days aren't, unless it's a geometric usage thing.
That's why our surplus is only 400,000 and not $1 million.
Contingency
That's
facilities,
part of it,
the
600.
facilities contingency, Jim here, 100,000,
yeah.
right, you talked about that. Site improvements a little bit here. Contingency 150, which is normal. So that's always there. All right, so we got that,
Okay,
let's
this
skip
is just
down,
a-
yeah,
that's
let's
just
skip down.
coaches
to
and
the-
nurses squads.
Let's get down. What number here? 86, and you see we're gonna go down more. Let's get to the end, a couple pages at the end, right over here.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
Transfers over $3,000. Mr. Brandt, special ed director, requested a few budget transfers this month there. Amity Transition Academy, the ATA, transferring locations and additional classroom furniture required in the space to meet the needs of students. They're gonna be occupying some space in Woodbridge. I guess somewhere in Town Hall they were mentioning, there's a classroom that they're gonna be utilizing for some of their work there.
So these are just the small items, right,
Yeah,
Joe?
some small items there,
Okay.
6,000, 5,300,
They're just moving stuff around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
another 5. Bus riding software, what you talked about earlier, so these are the transfers now. Showing up here.
Okay.
They're making a greenhouse at the high school. Hopefully not growing cannabis, although it's legal.
Woodbridge, you get 3% for that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
John's watching, he knows.
So I'm watching.
And that's basically it. Any questions for me, from anybody? Okay? All right, all good? Thanks,
Joe,
Mr.
do you
Chairman.
get
Yep.
the raw Excel files and Word files?
I do, as you do, yes.
Could you forward that to me? Maybe
Yes.
jot that down and
Yes.
send it off. Matter of fact, if you could put down the last two from, would be the May meeting and the
Jeff
June
Byers.
meeting, that would be useful for me. Thank you.
Move on, item number 5, Vice Chairman's report. Mr.
Well,
Lee.
it's actually, item number 6 that I'm doing.
Okay.
So my report is, I have a report on Orange Visiting Nurses Association. I see it's 7:23. But I think we probably should just get started. What do you think, Kevin? Good?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Kinda told them we'd wait.
Would wait?
Last week, we told them we'd wait. Marissa's not here yet.
She's here.
Sure.
Oh,
Okay, I take that
Okay.
back then.
well, Marissa, why don't you come and sit right up here? And Kim, if you want to drag one of those chairs up with you, I don't know which one, you might have to grab one of those big brown ones, and maybe Rick could help, I don't know, or whatever you want to do, but I don't know, a little. You can join me in the non-black chairs at the table group, how's that? How you doing? Sounds good. Okay. Why don't Marissa and Kim introduce themselves, Kevin, since they weren't here at the start? We've already introduced ourselves, so that's why I'm asking. Just speak right into the microphone now.
Hi, I'm Marissa Moriello. I'm the Executive Director of the Orange Visiting Nursing. Nice to meet all of you.
Hello, how are you?
Kim Achitulo, I'm the Clinical Supervisor of Orange VNA.
Okay, great. Background, what we're doing here tonight. After the town budget hearing on April 22nd, I got an email from Marissa saying, I was wondering, I saw your presentation, I watched it, and I watched it again, and I was wondering if you could help me with a chart I'm thinking of preparing. Something like that, Marissa, is that fair? So, I was in no mood that Wednesday or Thursday morning to be doing more work on town stuff. So I said, well, I tell you what, I'll come over next week. How about Tuesday morning? And so Tuesday morning, I went over and I had I had coffee or whatever. And I thought I was going in to prepare a slide. That's what I had heard. And then I see a bunch of people sitting around a table. And, I've gone into meetings like this before. And, well, all right, it's all good. And since that time, I've spent a fair amount of time, as I'll show you. And Joe, I think
I
I
was
need
gonna say, we need to
your
switch it back.
I'm
switch
sorry,
back.
sorry.
No, I forgot.
Sorry,
Sorry, I've done it before. And this is a topic that this board has been dabbling with here and there. And so since that time, and I've been working with a number of people, leaders in town, and learning about the Orange Visiting Nurses Association. So my overall objective is to bring this board, the Orange Board of Finance, up to speed on what I think I have learned, all right? I've enjoyed the process. It's been work. But last time I heard, that's how you get things done. So with that in mind, I'll just continue. And I'll get it off this way. I'm seeing something that I don't want to see. Okay, so I call it Learning About OVNA, an update to you guys, all right, today. All right, we've already introduced everybody in the room. I want to provide an update from my perspective on the work to date. I want to gain participant input. Kevin, you got questions? Fire away. Joe, we've got people here, and they can clarify a little bit. But again, the presentation is primarily me telling you what I think I've learned. Does not mean that I know everything. I do not. I know how little I know, which is, of course, dangerous. There'll be 9 sections. I'm going to tell you what I've done so far. I mentioned informal beginnings too, where we are today. I'm going to show you stuff on OVNA, an overview of their activities. I'm going to show you some financial data, thanks to John and others, and Rick. I'd like to show you a little bit of how I've handled every single project at Sikorsky, about 120, 150 over the years I was there, particularly the last 10. I'd like to show you some visits data from their operations. I'd like to show you some revenue data that we've been able to piece together. And I think there had been something out there, and rather than it's a version 1 when you get to that slide, what if there was no VNA here? What would happen? Okay, I just said, I called it a zap. It's a funny thing, right? We've created a benchmarking initiative and other things, and then where we think we're going with this as we go forward. So that's my roadmap for tonight, all right? All right, so work to date, little
And
calendar.
are you guys, so he's presenting, are you presenting something also, or just here to answer questions and fill in blanks?
We're here to answer questions.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I just, you're,
Yep. No.
I don't know if you were running the show or Rick's running the show or.
Right, that's why I'm trying to tell you
Okay.
what I know.
Okay,
And if you have
Thank you.
questions that may, from something I showed, that you might want to ask them, that's a good.
okay. that's
Okay.
fine.
All right, so, first one, I got there on the 28th. So we created a little bit of framework, about 3 or 4 hours, maybe to 2 o'clock, so maybe it was 5 hours. The next day, we created an org chart, which you will see, and we reviewed some financials. There was a summary review after Derby, Kentucky Derby. You always have to do Kentucky Derby on May, first Saturday in May. So I went the next week, and we did a benchmark questionnaire. Actually, when Ginny gets here, we'll introduce Ginny. And she is here. She's in here already. Snuck in. Hey, Rich. All right. So we did a quick OBO Board of Finance catch-up. I did it with you guys back on May 11th. The next day, we did a process flow. That is the flow that you see behind me, all right? And we also have a slide. I'll explain all that later. All right, we did a little bit of review with Tom and Rich Zarena, who's also here tonight, both members of the boards of directors of the OVNA. We talked about target areas for improvement. We did another piece of the process flow on the 22nd. We started visiting data about visits, so you'll see it all. Munis costs, you'll see all that. All right, revenue by paying source over January 3rd, right-hand side, by visit type, we'll talk about that. We're gonna talk about the data for the current 11-month year, so up until the end of May. We're gonna show you various charts, models, cost reports, weighted average of revenue, and various other things, including the Medicare and cost summary reports that Jim McPherson had presented to us. So this is the material that we've covered so far. I've created a team folder like I would do at Sikorsky. The team over here is familiar with it, and it's basically on my computer right now, but they're catching on to the idea of version control. Okay, here is the first thing we did the first day. We created 3 circles. I learned that OV&A is part of what I have heard called the Town of Orange Health Services. You have public health, you have OV&A, and you have school nursing K through 6. We're going to use this framework. All right, there are some fast facts up on the website. I'm not going to review it all. I did, just check it out, but it's up on the website, and these I just dragged and put it into PowerPoint. All right, it was founded in '37. It's licensed as it should be. There are various other things about it. I'm not going to go into it, but the goal of the OV&A, second from the bottom, is to provide services to the client and family and attain improved level health well-being at home. That's what's up on the website. All right, and we got to follow state and federal guidelines. All right, there are boards of directors. Tom's here as the chairman. Rich is here as a member of the board, as is Ginny. All right, and then they had, I guess in '79, there's a Board of Health as well, God bless America, and it's licensed and is Medicare certified. All right, they meet quarterly as a board, as required, or whatever, over in the Clark Building, and there's the members of the board. Okay, I got this again from, I believe, from the website. This, at one point, was, as I've termed, the map of Cambridge from 1938, the first org chart I saw. I thought this helped all of us be a little bit more conversant. You can see Dr. Muhammad and the board at the top, but focusing on the operation itself, you can see Marissa, who's sitting at the table there. I called it the executive director, and Kim is the director of nursing services. I kind of like to know what the title is and stick with it, all right? In the first few, and that happens a lot in business, by the way. They kind of, it's like code. We call you Joey, but your name's Joseph, that kind of thing. You got to nail it down. Now, I wanted to, if you see the legend on the upper right, that's full-time, part-time. I tried to do those yellow. Darker yellow is per diem, PD, and then there's contractor, CTR. So, reporting to Melissa would be Rick, who's sitting at the table, Director of Finance, and reporting to Rick would be Lydia in Medical Records. Rebecca Cruz, a contractor, Insurance Interface. Kathleen Malone is actually the head of the school nurses. She's the school nurse over at Turkey Hill. Okay. On the right-hand side, reporting to Marissa, is Mallory, who's the intake coordinator. I learned about that when we did the process flow. The scheduler, Karen, and Brittany, who's the secretary as you walk in the door. Social work is actually 2 resources there, a paid per diem person and a contractor, Judy Young and Rebecca. Below the line there, underneath Kim, you have 2 major, actually 3 major individual things, most of which are RNs. 4 of them are full-time and 10 of them are part-time, per diem. And the LPN column, which you have full-time 2, Amy and Louisa. You have Maria, who's a part-timer and the only part-timer on the chart, and a per diem Laura. So you have 4 resources in the LPM category. Florence is a contractor that you see on the overall right. Going to the far left, when you see also reporting back up to Marissa, was therapy services. And you can see there are 4 full-time, Lisa, Ashley, Tricia, and Tom. You can see that there are 6 per diems, all of them handling different types of therapy, physical therapy, occupational physical therapy with an A. Somebody else can tell you about that. All right, another one, Wendy, HHA, home health aide, and occupational therapist. Jamie, the last one. Then there are contractors with their own specialty, okay? So this org chart is really important, and we'll be coming back to it, and you can see in the lower right, it's a V15, which means it's the 15th version of this particular org chart. all right? And we'll be using this as we go forward, because everything comes back to people doing work, right? Yeah. And one of the things I want all of us to know, and it took a while for me to work this out with Rick, the type of costs, and we have above the org chart, because it's kind of important. I say that there, for now, version whatever, two types of employees, those which have a set schedule and those who do not have a set schedule. Set schedule means so many hours per week. So it's going to become important because when you have a set schedule and you're full-time, you will not only get your salary or your hourly rate, you will get benefits, and you will have to, obviously, everybody has to pay taxes, all right? Part-timers, which means less than 30 hours a week, they too have a salary. They do not get benefits other than accumulating over a certain number of hours. You get sick days, and you do pay your taxes, right? Now, on the not set schedule situation, the per diems, and this is a major difference, as we'll see as we get further in the financials, is that a per diem does have an hourly rate, but do not have benefits. And they do pay taxes on their per diem. If you are a contractor, you get a 1099, you do not get any benefits, and you take care of your own taxes. That's my understanding. So it took us a while to kind of come up with, we had different types of charts, and that's the one I think it's useful to be looking at when we're looking at this, when we're going to be looking at financials, okay? So stay tuned. Now, we mentioned there were three components of the town health. The first component is public health, and it too has two components, and one of which we're very familiar with because we see it every February when we get our book, and that is environmental health. It's cost category 330. I think this is the one from last year, and you can see the salary sanitarian, the assistant sanitarian, etc. Various types of expenditures for purchase services and various other services. And the long and the short of it, you can see the budgeted amount that we adopted, all right, by the Board of Finance. Well, I don't know if that was the actual one, John. I may have grabbed it and copied the one that you initially sent out in February. But it's around the $200,000 mark, okay? And we can figure out what the actual number is. Edit on me could be a violation on me. It could be, Joe, possibly a minor one, no, we don't know. Okay, what do? Now, I don't want the Reader's Digest version. I want, a couple snapshots. They provide septic inspections, they inspect restaurants, schools, food service providers, perform environmental checks, and I have a one-pager which probably has 15 more things that the gentleman who's Paul, was it? Brian? Good friends call him Paul, I don't. No, Brian, all right, gave me, which we have in the team folder. So that's one aspect of public health. The second aspect of public health is the director of public health, all right? And what you have here is a partial, I don't think that the salary for the director is totally that, but what the town funds for that. Is that a correct way to put it, John? How do I think about that?
He's a not even a part-time employee. That's his salary for the year. He's appointed by the first selectman.
Okay,
And that's his salary.
that's his salary.
He works
appointed by-
other jobs at various
And other
times.
jobs support his salary. Okay, I thought it was that, something like that.
John, do we get any state grant money to fund his additional salary?
No, he's gotten grants to fund the public health nurse, where you see
Yep.
we have a negative in that expense area because we have the revenue coming in on the revenue side. And he does get, part of his grant, he does get some equipment also, computers, things like that.
Gotcha.
All right, so you can see what we've had for approval of this. It looks like we approved about $46,000, $319 in the lower right. All right, now when I asked what does this do, you can see that the part-time salary, Marissa, you wanted to make a comment about that.
So as far as the director of health category, there's an RN component. So the OVNA is currently, we are the arms and legs of the public health department. So if you were to come into the public health department for any of the needs that you would need in any other town, OVNA is supplementing all of the public health duties.
But specifically that line I want to know
So we
about.
do provide, in order to be in compliance with the state and federal regulations, we do provide the nursing and all of the clinics that are needed in order to be a certified public health department.
John, why did that go up 12,000 in this year? Do you remember?
I think it was a grant before. I believe it was a grant, and we
Okay.
started budgeting for it.
Okay, can I specifically hear, what is the activity happening for that amount of money?
So, as far as the director, I can't, you have to have a director in order to
Right.
be certified. The
What- the second
activities
line
that
item.
the Orange Visiting Nursing are providing, so there's a .2 full-time support, which is Lynn, who is an RN, but she works very minimal hours. So the OVNA is supplementing the rest of the hours, which is.
Okay,
per-
but the question was, what does that represent?
So if anyone from any town residents come into the public health department, we are providing PPDs, we're providing injections, wound
Okay,
care.
so it's a support for
It's a
that
support,
type of thing?
yes.
Okay.
And that's
Doesn't
regulated.
cover the whole thing, it's a piece.
Yes, and
Okay.
there's
The other
10.
thing I think isn't on a different chart that you were
Yes,
talking
correct,
about.
right,
We'll get to
the
that.
end.
Okay, so it's 2/10 of an FTE support for the Director of Public Health, and it's in the building and whatever. Now, one of the things that I learned from a discussion, extended discussion, that first and second day, was there are things that kind of in an overlap area between the OVNA and the public, what we're terming public health. And some of those things are listed there. They run clinics, they track outbreaks and investigate, they act as a focal point for town preparedness and response. And certainly when we had the COVID things, there was a lot of that going around, as the phrase goes. And we provide on-site care to town residents. So these are things that are in the public health domain that OVNA does, okay? Now, what does OVNA do all by themselves? Well, they do licensed home care, disease management, wound and ostomy care, orthopedic program, and at-home assistance. You can see the 4 categories under number 1, numbers 1A, B, C, and D. And these are ones that you're going to be seeing and have already seen on the org chart. Where do they do it? They do it in homes, and really, these are all living locations, just different things to prompt where you might find those services being done. All right, so I thought it would be useful mentioning that. Now, on the website for each of those services, 1A through D, right, there are something up there that gives you further information. I'm flipping through it at this speed for a reason, so that if you want to know more about it, you can go up there and read more about it. It's more detail, and I put it in the presentation so you would have that knowledge. I'm gonna send you this file after the meeting, everybody's here, so you have it. Now, the third category, the skilled nursing, on the right-hand side, remember we had 3 charts. This is where it gets a little bit more interesting as far as the OVNA goes. In the far left, you see OVNA is involved, and I tried to show you by color where they are. For example, if you look at the pink, you have the salary of the director. Now, the director doesn't get a salary of whatever the number is. That's a piece. And I believe, John, 10% or something in that range-ish. All right, so that's what that first pink one is. The next pink one is the finance manager. You can see on the right-hand side, you can see it a little easier, 97, 80, 85. And the third one is the salary for the secretary. Again, a piece, let's think of 10% would be a good number, 5,100. So you can see that those 3 add up to the neat 26,885 above. OVNA support, not the whole thing, a piece. In the yellow category over on the left, you can see the salary of the school health supervisor, all right, to the tune of 98. The staff nurses to the tune of 225. And you also see the school substitutes to the tune of 25. So you can see that that totals 348. Now, over on the right-hand side over here, what I did is a handy summary chart, which you can see Turkey Hill, Peck Place, all right, Racebrook, and Mary MLT. All right? So you can see that's where the 4 of them were. and the subs are the one directly underneath it. It also turns out, in blue, we have salary for private school, that's the 55,000, and that's support over at the Hope Academy and Hebrew Day. All right, so there are a total of 7, I don't know if these are full FTEs, but let's not get too deep in that now, but that's where the 55,000 is, and that's where we, at 21,334, we fund this from our budget, Board of Finance budget. Track it? Joe, you good?
Yes, I got it.
Okay, good. All right, so what do? They provide deck care for students. I've been using this first aid because that's the way I think about it, putting Band-Aids on, but it's a little more than that. So I put et cetera. All right, assess disease surveillance reports, and we provide budget for partial items as we just described. There are a lot more things in there that they might do, so I just put some ... for now, okay? So that's the school nursing thing.
So could I make one statement about that? So just so you know, if OVNA was to leave, there would be, so the OVNA administrator's salary, the 10%, that would cost the town the entire
Entire amount.
100%,
Okay, that'll be on the slide that we have forthcoming.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So here's the overlap stuff. Things that the OVNA and the school nursing kind of do together, services provided by the OVNA, which is manage student care for chronic diseases, provide assessments for students with special needs, create standing orders for school nursing, and manage and evaluate the school nursing activity, and that's the activity I believe you need that certification for, which Marissa was just describing in a little bit more detail in her last comment. So, what I'd like to do is sum it up this way. These are a summary of the slides you've already seen. You can see the overlap in the public health with OVNA. You can see the overlap on the right with OVNA. And there's no reason to be not combining all this stuff. So rather than show you this chart at the outset, this would be the chart in future meetings I'd come back to. All right, and it would be an enlargement on the wall in the event room at Sikorsky, because this is an important one for all of us to remember. That the OVNA does the middle part, the B part. They're also involved in A part for public health. They're also involved in the C part over in the schools. All right, so I thought this was a handy way, and I believe Rick and Ginny were the ones who I had 3 overlapping rings, but this turned out to be a better way to communicate it, we thought. Okay? So that's the first part of what does this OVNA thing do? It's a little deep, but it's not a full deep, right? Full deep is knowing exactly. Financial data. Now, this is a chart from John, is that fair to say? You put together the chart from the Michelle Lasso?
This is the financial statements from the audit for the OVNA for the
Okay.
last.
And that's
from
10 years,
216,
yeah.
right.
Everybody good? And the reason the one in the first column, and by the way, it's kind of a Chinese one because it goes from 16 over here the other way to 25, so a little bit of multicultural chart showing, I guess.
Yep.
That's estimated because we haven't had the final thing from Michelle until January right? Okay. So I look at this, and what I want you to remember, I dolled it up a little bit. This is what I'll call an operating margin. I'm just giving it a name, all right? We have revenues, we have expenses, we have the difference between the two. We have benefits and taxes, those are costs. So I'm saying whatever that number is, you got to subtract that number from the above number, and then you get what I'll call a P&L. All right, now, having said that, I'm breaking this into 3 pieces. I'm A, B, and C. You can kind of see with the blue lines where my head was thinking. First, the first 4 years was back in the late teens, all right? The operating margin seemed to be about $200K a year. The benefits seemed to be about $225. So the P&L, the average it turned out to be was about 33, down 33, Joe, all right? You could say it went from 82 plus to 95 minus, so it was in a little bit of a downward trend, but that's the data, okay, for me. The second one was column B, that's when COVID started. Or Marissa, by the way, came in, what was it, February,
End of
March?
2022.
20,
So it was October 2022, at the end of October.
of 2022. So you're in the year of the last one where the B number is there. Okay, Good. 4 years, the operating margin, just operations, was negative 220. All right, benefits was costing you 320 on average. So your P and L, the last one down, you can see the P and L line, was about 540. All right? Now, these numbers are not exact to other things we've seen, guys, but they're directionally in the same ballpark. Whoops. So the third one, we can see that, first of all, we have a 2-year period. We can see that there's been a turnaround. You can see the revenue certainly turn around. You can see that the operating margin has now only down 50K a year as opposed to those 3-digit numbers in the B category that we just described. We can also see that the benefits have started to rise a bit. All right, they're now up to 430. So the P&L for those 2 years seems to be more in the 480 around. This is just the data, all right? This is just the data, all right? So no great shakes. Now, looking at that chart, I'm trying to transition your brains over to the right-hand side, where I'm going to look at the top part, which only looks at revenue, expenses, and operating margin. And then I'm going to take that operating margin and just visually show you the same data that you saw here. So having said that's what I'm doing, now I'm going to let you be able to see those a little bit clearer, same data. So what it's telling us is revenue went from 1401 to 994 to a little over 2 million, all right, on average for those periods. The costs were what they were, and we can see the green there went from 194 to a negative 222 to a negative 48. So on the right-hand side, Joe, what you see there is you see the green, right, same numbers, but now you see the pink, all right, and the pink is the benefits and taxes, and you can see the size of the pink is growing. And you can see, therefore, even though we had a favorable thing in the green, all right, less of a negative, we had an increase on the benefits, which made our orange almost the same as it was. Okay, so that's reality. That's reality. That's what we got. This now is we're familiar with this on this board. This is from the Munis. I don't know if we have seen this often, Kevin. I don't remember seeing it until I started working with these guys. That they have, there was a revenue report for OVNA ginned up somehow, some way for last year, for the year we're currently in. And what we're seeing, reading this, it's saying we're gonna get 2.549 million for the year. And at that point in time, now remember, I put this one back in April, because when I first started, that's what they had. It was $1.9 million. On the cost side, we're familiar with this, so I'll just read it for everybody. You can see, well, if you're gonna have a budget, you gotta have the same number for costs that you have for revenue, else they don't balance. But they had 1,796, which you can see over here now. So what you can say on a certain way, that through the year, we had a revenue like this, but our costs were this. So we're only a little bit above margin, operating margin. Has nothing to do with benefits, okay? But here's the secret. Benefits are in there, and let me tell you where. You see this transfer to Gene? That's not my Uncle Gene Leahy.
That's general fund, transfer to general fund? Yeah.
Transfer to general fund, and basically what it is there for is benefits and taxes. And what you see on the 375, none yet had been applied, right? So when you say there's a margin of 112, it depends on what that number is, but if you're expecting 375 for the year and you're already 9 months into the year, you're not at zero. Peace. We all know this. I'm just explaining to you what was out there, and everybody understands it. It doesn't include benefits and taxes, which is probably 300,000 at that point, all right, or so. It may be even higher than that. We'll get to that. Okay. This chart I have used with 200 teams in the last, well, at Sikorsky. It's the same chart. How do you get better? How do you identify changes, doctor? By the way, there is something called, you can look it up if you want, it's called a Master Black Belt, which is what, I'm not big on certification. all right? I taught math, I never went to teaching school. I thought that every education course I took was highly unworth it, and I was pretty effective at it. So I don't put, but that's what it's called, Master Black. Okay, there's probably, I don't know, 20,000 of them in the country. Anyway, these are things we've already done, these actions, all right? I'm gonna show you. Process steps, that's the stuff on the wall. Volume activity, you're gonna see it. Revenue, you're gonna see it. We're gathering forms, that'll be on the form, and we've done a little bit of benchmarking others. This does not mean that to implement change, you have to get to some future point over here by and by, all right? You can implement change at any point in time through the analysis phase, the design phase, the pilot test phase, anytime. And the way I taught it at Sikorsky is this. Mom Leahy told all her 8 kids, if there's $5 on the ground, pick it up. All right? Pick it up. So that's what we do. We got a good idea. So that's what we do. This is one idea of doing process flows. It is by far the last thing I'm interested in. I'm interested in the details of actually how everything one of these things work. And that's why we have this thing on the wall, and we'll be working together probably in the future on more of that. You'll be amazed what you discover on the little things in processes. I'll leave it at that. The data. All right. We have had, through 11 months, 15,756 clinician visits. What types? You see them in the middle. These should become familiar. Nursing, LPN, PT, OT, speech therapy, home health aid, and medical social work. You can see the numbers, you can see the percentages. I created both charts on the bottom so that I don't have to create them anymore for those 11 months. Everybody good? You can see that the top 3 get you 83%. All right, the top 2 would get you to 64% nursing and PT. Okay? So, heavy on the first 3. Oh, boy. Am I supposed to read that thing on the left? No. I'll teach it to you. What you have on the left, in the bottom right in the corner here, is that very same number, 15,007, all right? Whatever that number is. And there's the data on each of the yellows. For example, nursing, for example, LPN, physical therapy, all right, et cetera, occupational therapy, speech, home health aid, and who's doing them, what are they full-time or part-time or whatever, and how many did they do over each of the months? You got to get the data. We have the data. We have how we pay people, and we know how much benefits happen to be a cost to this operation. So I just kind of know that since one reports to Marissa and one reports to Kim, they work together as a team. It isn't a super large organization. You have less than 40 people, I believe, and it's very, very useful. Clinician visits, not much variability over time, really. Maybe November, I don't know why, but there's the data, so we have it. There's the trending of nursing. November was also down. May was down a little bit. I don't know why. Maybe somebody else does, but we like to take a peek. We also like to take a peek now that we know who the people are that do that work, all right? What and who is involved. That's going to be useful for us on the path forward. Same thing in LPNs. Almost very little variability, it would seem to me, over the mean. And there are the people who do the work. Now, you will notice that a lot of people drop off, they come and go, and that's a management juggling act, all right? So there's considerations there. PT, and this is the last one of these I'll do, and you can see that Lisa, Ashley, and Tom, they've been pretty steady on doing those, pretty steady, okay? So that's what we got, so some data. Volume of data of the activity. The revenue analysis. Now this is interesting. Got to take a breath here. We have 14 insurance providers, 14. For Medicare, Medicaid, a couple of Aetnas, a couple of Anthems, a couple of Cignas, a couple of Connecticares, United Health, VA Pay, Yale, and oh, by the way, I'll pay it myself. Well, if you look at it, and the ones we circle, That's 94% of all of them. And Medicare is a full third of it, all right? Now, for reasons that we won't talk about, I thought this was gonna be the graph, Kevin. I thought, oh, I'll go it this way. And I said to myself, I got it, but I can do it better with looking at the numbers. I don't know about you. But I gave you this one as well, so you could see it, okay? But anyway, why did we get that percentage of these things? Because we found out also how much money we get from each of them for the exact same service. Take a look. Medicare, according to the chart for an RN, is $214. Just slide your eyes across. Seems to be the highest one. There's some very low ones in there too, isn't there? Connecticut, for example. PT was our next highest bidder, starts at $214. And by the way, I'm gonna come back to why that Medicare thing is in red. All right, and you can see it going across. Okay. OT, the same kind of thing. So I'm gonna send you this, you can noodle it if you, to your heart's desire. One of the things that's weakness in the Medicare thing, because we did a weighted average, and that's the next chart, is that's paid differently. In other words, Kevin, if you have Aetna MM and you come in for an RN visit, they're getting a $1.40, okay? It's different from how the deal comes back. They have this thing called episode, so they don't pay by visit necessarily. So, and that's an examination area for the path forward. Anyway, once you take the percentage of each and multiply by the revenue, you can then get a weighted average, and I have an Excel chart which calculates all this stuff. Me and Rick did this the other day, all right? I believe we need, and Rick and I talked about it today with Melissa, we need to do this very same thing without Medicare in there, okay? I think, but we'll see what it says, all right? But that's where we're going. And the reason we're doing this, and this is the chart, we want to find out what it's costing us to do a visit. Because it isn't just the variable cost of the resource, fully loaded, which means benefits and taxes and all that, whatever that is, right? So what we're trying to do is understand where, if we're going to improve and still be effective, we have to understand where we're spending our money. And that's where the details come in, okay? All right. That's a lot of costs and a lot of revenue. I've not come to any conclusions at this point, but that's where I stand, all right? Okay, now what happens if ZAP, there was no OVNA existed? Well, first of all, we don't have to worry about it because we would have to get services from the regional health designee for Orange, Quinnipiac Valley Health. Now, they're not accepting new towns until a while from now, fiscal year 27, 28. It turns out Quinnipiac Valley Health doesn't do the OVNA piece of it. It does the other pieces of the three overlapping ring chart, just FYI. But anyway, if you wanted to go to QVH, you can't do it now, all right? Fees for services. Think HOV. It's a fixed fee based on town head count, and the rate is a little under $8 a person. For us, I put 15,000 so I could easily do the math. I know we don't think of 15,000, but there's a number. You would have less control over the services for sure, or how they're staffed. And it's short-staffed now, and that's why they have major delays in servicing their current client base, which is why they came back with, no more towns right now, please, all right? And so actually 2E already has that. If you went that, and if it disappeared, my understanding would be we would eliminate some of the departments, and I hope I got them right, John, 2130 and 21335, and a piece of 21334, all right? In other words, we wouldn't have those departments because we'd be paying for someone else to do it. Whatever environmental health revenue we get, it would go to the QVNA. 50,000, I think, was a good number. And we would have to Melissa's point, we need to cover the school nursing supervisory position. And there may be additional costs, targeted public tasks, clinics, or sanitary headcount or whatever. So there's some version one, first draft, of what it would mean if that OVNA disappeared, okay? In a certain way, I don't see it disappear, it's in our budget for this year anyway, so I mean, and anyway, I'm working with them to see what we can do to be more effective and more efficient.
So John, is the school nurse supervisor position the only position that's not funded within the general fund budget? It's funded through OVNA,
No,
or is it built in?
it's actually funded in the general fund position, that's their 10% of their salary.
The 438,000, that's in there for school
Right.
nurses?
They're,
Okay.
but I think what they're saying is you might need somebody more than 10%.
Right.
But all those school nurses would go over, the school nurses would go over to the Board of Ed by
Right.
statute.
Right.
And then they would have to figure out how they
Right.
supervise them, or
Gotcha.
whatever the law is. on
Yeah, yeah.
So that would turn out to
supervising
be
them.
still a cost in our
Yep.
overall, right, Kev?
Yep.
Okay, Joe, you good, Kev? Good, okay. All right, we talked about the Quinnipiac Valley Health. This was, you go online, so it looks like Quinnipiac Valley Health is 17, there it is on the left, fourth from the bottom, looks like $1 million movie. It's 17 there, and this is a direct lift from the website, and that's a link to the website too. And that's where they are. You can see the cities. John, you had a comment to me the other day about the cities that I thought was useful.
It seems like all the cities go it alone, the bigger cities, New Haven and Bridgeport, Milford even goes it alone. But remember, when they go it alone, none of those cities have OVNAs. It's all handled by private companies.
Right.
Or Yale or Hartford Healthcare. I don't know what you do in Meriden.
I think it's Yale.
Can I
believe
just
it,
make
yeah.
a point about that? So as far as like the ZAP, if OVNA was to go away.
Make sure you're very close to
I'm
that
sorry.
mic, or push the mic
Okay,
closer to you.
sorry.
Or
So
both.
if OVNA was to go away, I think it's very important to understand as a town resident that the environmental health and the public health are all under the same umbrella. So if you're an Orange resident and you have a septic issue, you have a water issue, you have a radon issue, we have multiple residents that are coming in for wound care, all of that is gonna go away. That's gonna go through Quinnipiac Valley and Hamden, and you might wait 2 and 3 weeks. And all of your flu vaccinations, all the COVID vaccinations that happened during COVID, there's a lot that would happen that would really affect the Orange residents, and I think that that's really important to consider, because the care would not be nearly as, and especially the environmental side. The restaurants, in Quinnipiac Valley, some of the Hamden residents are waiting months for restaurants to be approved. So I think that that's really important to consider. If you had a septic problem in Orange and you go to Quinnipiac Valley Health, there's a good chance you could be waiting 2 weeks to 4 weeks to have that, to have that assessed. So those are really important points to that.
I think they are, and those towns currently with QVH are handling that somehow.
Right, but not very well, and from what we've surveyed. And I'm sure
Okay,
Jimmy
so when we
can
see
speak on-
surveys,
Yeah.
that's data,
Mhm.
and I have yet to see that data.
Yes,
Data-driven, right?
yes,
Remember,
for
okay.
sure.
Okay, doesn't say you're wrong,
Right,
all right, I believe you,
and.
but I
yeah,
cut the cards, right, and that's the data. Okay, yeah, okay. No, that's good, Is that, good?
Yeah,
We
no,
good?
this is good.
We were looking at this. And this is is this new, these districts?
No.
Tom, what do we got here?
They've evolved over the years.
Evolve, tell me some more. You're a fountain of knowledge here.
As John pointed out, the larger cities go it alone. They have, they have the population to serve, and they have the resources to provide those public health mandates that are required. Over the years, some of the smaller towns have, by necessity, grouped together to have regional services. So that's a continuing trend that's been going on for probably the last 15 years or so.
So did that start on its own, like, locally, and then the state started saying, why don't we structure it that way to these
Well,
20?
Some of them have started that way. You know, you go into the northeast corner, you go into the northwest corner. Some of those towns are 1,000 people.
Right.
So there's no way they can provide those services, those municipal services.
Right.
On their own. So they've had regional structures for probably the longest time.
Oh, okay, okay. That's interesting. I always have a hunch that there's best practices being done everywhere in the world, and we're just, and what's the phrase? Goodness is patiently waiting for our wits to get smarter to locate them so that we can do it too. I mean, that's kind of how we teach best practices. Anyway, so that's what we got. And LDH, would that be local health district or department?
Department.
Department, okay, thank you. All right, I'll make that note. All right, benchmarking. Now, this was initiated by Ginny, and as you can see, I think she had a person in mind, and we're gonna see that on the next slide. But you can see scope of services were already, you know, authority, operations, how do you communicate records, you know, performance, quality, finance, and community impact. Well, the person she's so far been able to interview, and we're grateful that she did it, and we got it on one page. But, and this is a recent elected first selectman over in Bethany, all right? But when you read this, you might get the feeling, am I wrong, Ginny, to say that the fewer things that cross her desk that she has to address might be part of what she's, wasn't there some of that flavor in there? Why don't you come on up and chat with us? And Joe, we'll share, we sit down over here maybe, or get her another chair and sneak her in. Hello, everybody. All right, good. Well, couple more introductions, so, let's see, why don't we introduce, everybody's already.
I'm Jenny Christakis. I've lived in Orange my whole life. Went to Racebrook School, Amity, and actually worked at the OVNA during college as a home health aide. I'm a nurse by training. I went to Southern, and then I got an MPA and ended up going into corporate benefits, and I was retired as the U.S. Director of Corporate Benefits for General Electric when it was a conglomerate. So we covered 300,000 lives worldwide and spent about $4 billion on health and $90 billion on a pension plan, and that was in my portfolio. So I know a little bit about the tax issue, right? Okay, so I interviewed Carol Goldberg. What I found, and I'm finding the same thing in Bethany and Woodbridge, is it's out of sight, out of mind for these people. Basically, the answer is it works because it's inexpensive and I don't have to worry about it. But what she did say is we want the same sort of services that Orange has for the elderly and the infirmed, but we don't want to pay for it. So we're trying to figure out a way to get it for nothing. I just want to say something about the map that you had a minute. What we find is you inquire into some of these regional towns, they may have a regionalized health department, but they pay for other services. They have doctors who manage, you need a doctor to manage the school nurses, so that's another salary that you need. They also have, if they have a flu clinic, they pay for it. If they have education in the community, they pay for it. So it's not as simple as just paying the bill to Quinnipiac Valley without having other expenses. And that's really what I got from Carol. And when I asked her what the best part about it was, she said, I really don't have to worry about it. She did talk about delays, and she did talk about satisfaction levels. What was very interesting to me is the outsourcing began in 2003. You'll see, you probably can't see it because the
What
font is too
category
small.
are we in there, Jen?
Scope of services, C.
See? Okay?
See, I was a master black belt. Kevin knows this from GE. You had to be a
Yep.
master black belt to
Yep.
be an executive.
That's it.
So there's a couple in the room, so we'll excuse ourselves if we get too nerdy on you guys. But anyway, they started in '03, and she said the complaints have just started to subside, which I thought was fascinating. Of course, she didn't have to live through all of them herself, but she said, yeah, now people are starting to get used to it. And when I look back at the date, I was like, wow, it took a long time, Carol. And she said, yeah, once again, this isn't an OVNA. Bethany never had their own visiting nurse association. They only have 5,000 residents, and I think they have like 1,500 seniors that are over 65. So they were never large enough to have their own VNA. That's my work. Now, I'm going to do the same thing with Woodbridge, but what I'm finding is, other than the CFO who pays the bill and somebody who does stuff with building permits, nobody really knows what's going on. So I have to get to the first select person, who I will in the next couple weeks.
It's almost like a benchmarking effort, could just be on what other costs than the $8 per do you have to do, do you in fact do, and you've probably been doing this for so long, you don't even know it's still there.
Well, I think that's
you know.
part of the challenge
That's
is.
the challenge.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's part of the challenge. It's
Good.
just embedded in their culture, yeah.
Yeah, but a town like Woodbridge is like Orange with the septic tanks, that has to be an issue.
It is.
Wait,
If you
like,
talk to
mentioned
real
that
estate
earlier.
agents, though, I've talked to real estate agents to find that out.
Yep.
Because the town couldn't answer me, and they say it does delay sales.
Sure.
And there's housing issues, water pollution, there's just.
This isn't the first time,
Layers.
I mean, someone like Mitch could speak specifically to the history, because when Mitch was in office, I have had a chat with him. He said it came up, and one of the reasons why they never chose to go was the fact that you had to drive to Hamden to do the business, and they were worried about delays. So I'm sure there were other reasons, but that's what he mentioned, because I asked him specifically about that one concern.
And when surveying Quinnipiac Valley, they were very honest and open to say, we would like to model what you're doing in
Yes.
Orange, and we'd like to do what you're doing with your sanitarians and your clinical public health staff, which is through the OVNA. So I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
If and when we do get to whatever rainbow might be out there in the future of more efficient, more effective and efficient, that's kind of that's a fun thing if you wanted to be on that team that created that or defined that or however that. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I kind of get a kick out of doing
There's
this.
another small concern that I'm just gonna bring up now that we're talking about this, if you don't mind. It's gonna affect Bethany and Woodbridge. I'm on the Board of Health, I just left that meeting, and we were talking about the multifamily housing coming in, and Orange doesn't have a housing department. A lot of the complaints are coming to the sanitarian, the visiting nurses, believe it or not, because they're in these apartment buildings visiting older people. People are reporting odors, nuisance complaints, et cetera. New Haven, some of these other towns that are part of regional have a housing department. So as we get more and more residents in multifamily, if you don't channel this stuff to the health department and the OVNA, you're gonna have to put in a housing department, or you'll find at some point, you'll have a tipping
You
point where
have to
it'll make
fund
sense.
activity that would be like,
If somebody
the
calls
beginning.
up saying, you know, they're smoking and I'm gagging in the hallway, I need somebody to come out and check this, there's nobody else in town who can do that stuff. That's also a
I just
gap.
don't know how many 14,000 person towns have housing departments.
Well, when they have more
many.
housing, we'll find out.
Not many, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Anyway.
It's gonna grow.
Jim, if I can
Where-
add one more thing.
Sure.
You're very much interested in data. This is really rock-solid qualitative data that
Quality.
Jenny is talking about. You know, the interviews that she's having with elected officials.
Yes.
The interviews she's having with knowledgeable people who are dealing with health issues and environmental issues in their hometowns.
Yes.
Is very important in addition to the.
No, as a matter of
into the
fact,
numbers
that
and the
whole
quantitative
multifamily
data.
thing we've been talking about, I just didn't make a page out of it. I could have, and perhaps should have, mentioned that because my good friend, all right, sanitation, manager, he mentioned that was something really putting a lot more on his plate, all right? And he specifically mentioned that, right?
He also mentioned that he's moonlighting for Quinnipiac Valley.
Good for
Because
him.
they don't have enough sanitarians.
Well, it also tells us we've got a resource working for us who's got skills and knowledge that
Absolutely.
benefits us and other people are willing to pay for it.
Brian is a great guy,
You
yep.
know, good for us, and don't let them go. There is more in the benchmarking front. This chart, I wouldn't give it anything above a very deep letter grade. You can't really tell whatever the heck it's supposed to be saying. But the reason I put it up there is to let you know that I plucked it out of a presentation that Yale made, that Marissa shared with me in a day-long activity that she went to, and the next chart's the one I want to share. It's a big deal, this readmissions rate, according to Yale. And so benchmarking, however we misspell it up at the top, I see now.
It's
They're
Italian.
looking for a goal of 18%, right? And this, I think, we can see more clearly. And other of these, educate me again, HHAs?
So home health
V-
agencies.
VNAs.
Of agencies, of which we are a type, all right? There are other types that are up there. And we are well below that line. We are well below that line, all right?
And Jim, the important thing to know about this is, so back in 2023, when I started, the Orange Visiting Nursing was actually, they were taken out of the Yale Collaborative because we were not meeting their benchmarks. We just recently were able to get back into the collaborative, which means we're a partner with Yale. So they report on our data. So that was a huge triumphant time to be able to get onto that
One of the
collaborative.
things that, I mean, you bring up a good point. One of the things that she did was, when she walked in the door, a lot of these contracts with these hospitals, referral sources, were all canceled. Because we were saying that whoever was in charge, I don't even know the lady's name, because I ended up there in 2023, we weren't even servicing them. So they don't want to promise a patient if nobody shows up. So she had to rebuild all these contracts one by one with all of these referral sources, and here we are today with this, results.
The hospitals are interested because they get penalized by payments
That's right.
with readmissions that happen within 30 days.
And it's kind of like, well, I equate it to prison, that's probably not the proper one, but it's the same idea. We're trying to reform and go back into society. Well, the same thing here in a sense, right? You're trying to get better, and we don't want you going back in. And it would be in everybody's financial best interest to use that as a measurement.
Agreed.
And so I think it's great, and I don't know, we just get back in, we should have been in for a long time unless this is a recent discovery about us. I don't know why they were booting us out, but there we are. That's how we compare, and that's a feather in our cap. That's the first thing. So we're a leader in this minimal 30-day readmissions rate. In addition, there is this national award that OVNA got, and we looked it up today, in fact, in this room, that there are over 11,000 of these HHAs, and we, Orange Board, OVNA is in the top 25. Now, this is a patient satisfaction thing that I think Rick and Marissa were educating me earlier, but I don't think I should be saying anything more other than you.
Okay, so it's, so
But
we.
make sure you're right in that mic. It
Okay.
has to be
So-
right in top of it.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
So we were rated top 25 in the nation, in the whole United States, out of all of these home health agencies for our quality to patients. So that's huge. What happens is a third party, they deliver surveys to patients in a lot of Orange residents especially, and they have to rate our services, and there's a abundant criteria that is asked of them, and they respond, and we were granted in 2025 the top 25 in the nation, and for a small little Orange family, that's a really huge triumph for us.
So again, this is the type of thing, is if we could be very effective and very efficient, that doesn't mean we have to have a financial goal at this moment in time until we get more scope on how we can manage the business more, better. There's good things happening here as well. Okay, the path forward to get to a little bit of closure. All right, a couple of next steps. There's plenty of next steps going on here, so this is just a swag at it. I'll read them, but we did them together today, all right? Increase the number of visits today for each full-time clinical staff from 5 a day to 6 per day, all right? See if that's a change to make. It could be very beneficial. Apply for state and federal grants. This is the first year that we've been ready or able or something like that to apply for them. I'm happy to work with, Marissa and team on way to communicate work they're doing. They're the ones obviously have to do the work. They're implementing a new electronic medical records upgrade, at $60K, and it appears like, just from talking to Chris and the IT guys, they're really excited about it. They're excited, and I'm looking forward to seeing not only the system itself, but the what do you call it? I'll call them laptops. I don't know what they are. They may be just
Tablets.
tablets. Tablets, there we go. But the idea will be certainly reduce documentation time and also assist with compliance, and there's less admin to do. We'll see what all that means, but once we get this thing nailed down a little bit more, this being this process flow we have here, I gotta get that really nailed down with you guys. Because what we're gonna have underneath is what that's gonna look like once you get this thing in place. See what I'm saying? Because, we got into an area in here, and I felt like I was in a kitchen with 4 people trying to make the sauce, and they're all Italian. I didn't wanna have any part of it, okay? And, yeah, I was in trouble. That's correct. So.
Get out of the way.
I wanted to, forget it.
Leave the Irish guy in the
Yeah,
dining room.
I'm not only am I male, I'm Irish, for God's sake. I'll eat any one of them.
That's right, that's right. Don't touch our sauce.
I- Item 4, we need to do a deep dive regarding this Medicare 30, there's a 30-day you get lump sum visit utilization thing, and I don't want to go into it till I learn more about it. I'm hearing 30 days, I'm hearing a fixed amount of money, and God bless America. So we're going to do a deep dive on that.
The good news is it's an incentive.
It's an
It's not a-
incentive.
it's not an
It's
added
intended
cost.
as an incentive, but we'll see.
Okay.
Okay, we'll see. Renegotiate rates with insurance providers. Now, when you do good things, such as best in practice, or you're advertised as goodness, that should be helping and telling insurance providers, hey, we're work with us. And also work with town leaders on perhaps funding some of the OVNA operating, or operations, operating the public health department. Now, what that means is the overlaps in the circles. I don't want to get into big debates about it tonight, but talking about those overlaps, what makes sense, how much can you fit in, work all that. So it's a V1 idea, Kevin, on number 6, that we came up with for the leadership. Now, in terms of support, so anybody wants to jump in, I'm certainly willing to do more. I'm going to continue to work with OVNA and town leaders to do what we've been doing, which is, the overall goal to me is efficiency and effectiveness of the operation, all right, both. Map the categories in Munis to the org chart. John, this is something I need to do. I keep on saying, here, I got an org chart, I got a Munis. Who's in this category? I need to figure that one out. It's a small one, but I need to get it done. I need to develop a Munis cost structure for each visit. We have a lot of the data. I know I have the benefits and taxes by resource now, so now I can kind of get a full up what that is. This kind of ties to number D, John. This is what we did the other day with Jim McPherson. Jim McPherson, for those who don't know, but he's a resource, 30 years in the business, knows it well. All right, he does this with a lot of HHAs, I suspect, Hope Health Agencies, I'm getting there. All right, and he had a report that he reviewed with John and me and the team, all right, Rick, Marissa, all right, and I understand what he's written there. He sent me his Excel file, and we need to dissect that. All right, and then we got to reconcile what we send and what he comes up with, because we kind of coming up with, it isn't exactly this, but it's kind of like someone says 2 + 2 is 6, and someone says 2 + 2 is 3. I got to figure out how come we got a difference, that's all. I would like to understand the backroom admin processes, and that's doing no more than getting into specifics. Tell me how you do those steps over there. I want to see the screens, I want to see what I'm seeing, and whatever comes out of my head that might be useful, great. And whatever we need for supporting the OVNA fiscal year materials. You're doing a great job, Rick, but sometimes I can help do something there. So those are some things I know in the very near term that I would be focused on, and what the OVNA kind of, and I'd be working with, obviously, them and John and whomever else, all right, team, to do this. So that's what I got, a little bit of an hour maybe, to go through it. I'm happy it didn't take longer than that. But I'll just open it up. Kevin, I'll start with you.
Yeah, well, listen, I want to thank you for all your services that you guys do. You do a great job. My only question was, Jim, you did a great job laying out the data tonight. Had a question about moving forward. You presented a slide from 2016 to 2019, which showed that the OVNA was actually profitable. Then along came COVID. That kind of had a huge impact, I'm sure, on OVNA. But going forward, if we look at the last 2 years, 24 and 25, we start to see a little bit of a trend where they're almost getting back to like a break-even scenario, except
Before you get to the-
before you
yep.
calculate in the benefits.
Benefits, correct.
So my million-dollar question is there anything it doesn't look like there's anything that's a quick fix to
Correct.
get that margin up higher? My question is, if we get more volume of people in town that utilize our services, will that raise additional revenue that gets us into the green rather than the black? I guess.
Well, one of the things, that's a very good question, and rather than answer it, I would just say that's our goal. All right, how do we, because it may not be just grow. I think if you go back to the chart, when you get these, and look at that, the revenue that comes in by service,
Right.
by insurance provider, there might be some stuff there that
Yeah.
would be at best, I'll call it loss leader, but not a loss leader we would want
Right.
to have a lot of.
And plus the fact that Medicare is 33% of the total.
That needs to be looked
That
at
needs
as
to
a
be
whole
looked at,
different
too.
thing. Tommy, you got a
Yeah.
comment?
Yeah, the early years, Kevin, that you pointed out, in the columns of the payer sources that Jim showed, the early years had more what's referred to as original Medicare.
Yep.
That pays the best, because you just saw the M up there.
Right.
The other columns for payer source that you saw had MMs, managed Medicare. Those are the advantage plans that I think we're somewhat familiar with and very popular because usually there's either minimal or no premiums associated with them.
Right.
The reason there are no premiums associated with them is they're terrible payers.
Yep.
And there is a backlash that is happening right now, not only in the home care industry, but the hospital industry, which is sort of like the tail that's going to wag the healthcare
Yeah,
dog,
yep.
that they are also suffering from the managed Medicare payers.
Right.
And there's a lot of momentum happening with the American Hospital Association.
Yeah, 'cause they're losing millions.
They're
Right,
losing
right,
millions.
right.
So there potentially is some relief that is also coming from that, where they have to change not only the way they're doing business with pre-authorizations and all of the paperwork associated with it, but also the reimbursement. Then, as you rightfully pointed out, the next segment are the COVID years.
Right.
Everybody in healthcare suffered during the COVID years.
Right, right.
And then the third segment is when Marissa came and the agency started to turn around to more profitability. So there are good explanations for if you take those three segments, and you can see, there are some rationale behind each one of them, but the most important one and the ones that steps forward are the last couple of years.
Gotcha.
Yeah. What was the biggest benefit of this meeting for you, Kevin?
For me, it was, the way it was laid out, I have a much better understanding of how the business model works and how the operation works. And
Joe?
I have a better understanding on kind of how and why we're essentially losing some money. Yeah.
Okay, Joe?
I mean, my biggest question to all of us here
No,
would be.
benefit first, then we'll go questions
Oh,
and
I'm sorry.
concerns.
I mean, benefits, presentation was good.
Pause it. No, I'm not
Educating us,
presenting.
I mean, educating us on what you guys do. We've heard, from the Board of Finance, high level, but never really saw what you guys do. So it's helpful for me and for us as a board to know what you guys do, how we fund it, why the losses are there, because obviously the losses can't continue as a business unit because we can't afford to do it, but nonetheless. I think one of the questions I have is, what are some of the biggest challenges you guys have faced now, and just say 2 to 3 or 4 years out? What you're just, if you search why VNAs have not done very well, you'll see all the reasons why you guys have struggled. So how do you fix that? What's your niche? How do you become more efficient, more effective, and more profitable?
I think the first step is, if you don't have data, you can't manage something, right?
Right.
So this exercise, Jim has been very helpful at sifting and sorting things into the right buckets, not only for the OVNA, but I think for the finance team here at the town hall. And I think if we can figure out and reconcile and get the data, it'll be a lot easier to manage. The electronic medical record, that's one of the hopes as well, is if that captures things in a crisper, more robust way, then we can analyze it on a quicker timeline and do actions right away. And so that's the hope, is better data, and everybody wants better data, but that's what they're working on with the EMR.
Marissa, benefit of this meeting for you?
So the benefit of the meeting is I've heard from John Cifarelli for a long time that, we were gonna need to talk to the finance board, and I'm happy that we're finally talking to you and giving you the information. I'm happy that you understand a little bit better of what we do, and I hope to be able to have that discussion further with you.
Okay, Kim, your thoughts? Just move that,
Yeah,
good.
I think the most important thing is just for everyone to understand healthcare, and I think a little bit of that showed today. I think if you're not in healthcare, you don't fully understand it, and I feel like you kind of mapped it out in a very good way for us,
Okay,
to explain a little bit more to everybody.
okay, and the meeting itself?
Meeting itself was just part of that. I think everybody got a little bit more of a background in what healthcare is, not just home care, but healthcare in general,
Mm-hmm,
so.
okay. John, your thoughts on the meeting, benefit of it?
The only thing I'll say, I'll echo Marissa's comments on the information's in front of you. It's better to get it from them and for them to be here, be able to answer your questions better than I could or anybody else outside of that department could.
Okay. Rick, finance of OVNA?
Yeah, I think my biggest thing is, this kind of broadens the team, makes us feel like, we're supported by the town and that, and help us face these challenges and help figure out, because we know firsthand every day, like, what these challenges are, and we wanna find the solutions for them as well.
Yeah.
And, and knowing that we have a, gentlemen like yourself and ladies like yourself supporting us, it makes it easier for us to get this stuff done.
Ginny, your thoughts on the meeting?
Listen, I look at the population and how it's changing right in front of us.
Yep.
We have more than 20% of our citizens are seniors. I'm included in that myself. We want to keep them in their homes as long as possible because of what's happening and over the horizon. And we've got to fight, in my opinion, to make this as efficient as possible before we do anything else.
Yep.
Because if we can make this work, it's gonna be a great asset to the town, to its citizens, and to healthcare, and even Yale seeing the benefits of it. And Yale and a national survey together, there's something there. You may not believe the numbers exactly, but there's something there that is worth, in my opinion.
Way more good than bad.
That's right, absolutely. I mean, getting nationally recognized as one of the top 25 is not something the other 11,000 are gonna be able to do, so that's a great deal in and of itself.
Now, Corinne, I'll flip it over to you, so grab that mic. You used to work for a while over OVNA, now
did.
you're in the finance office with John. Benefit of the meeting from your perspective?
I think it, like Rick said, it brought a team together that we see both, for myself as well, see both sides of it. And it is really an asset to the town, so I'm hopeful we can work something out on it.
All right, Tom, thoughts?
I think the benefit, as was outlined by others, is the importance of the Orange VNA. One of the trends currently in healthcare is home services. I think we're all familiar with telehealth. Most of those telehealth visits take place between a provider and a patient at home. The hospitals are initiating what's called hospital at home. They're bringing, rather than inpatients, they are servicing patients in the patient's home. They're sending physicians, they're sending advanced practice providers to the home. And an important component of this also are home health services, which we've been doing coming up on 90 years.
Yep.
So we are on that trend, we are part of that trend, and also an important part of that trend, because the telehealth visits and the hospital at home concept are short-lived. The visiting nurse associations are meant to keep people in their homes and to avoid readmissions into the hospitals. And just one other thing to piggyback on what Jenny was saying, the importance of keeping seniors in their homes is, I think, important for the town. And from an economic standpoint, Kevin, I'm reading your article from last week.
Yep.
It's a cost, it can also be for the town a cost avoidance of keeping seniors in their homes rather than opening up those homes to young families with multiple children, thereby putting an additional strain on the town's resources itself, as Kevin outlined in his article last week.
It's fascinating when you talk about that because, my mother, 17, so she'd be 109 this year in September. We lost her at 83, obviously, it's a lot of years. But in those last years, the last place she wanted to be was in a hospital. Every time you went, take me home. Because whatever it meant in terms of her physical self, her spiritual, her everything in life was that, we called it Club 23 Salcombe Street in Dorchester. And that was her home. And that, nothing could make her more comfortable than that. So there's some trends that might have, if there's a lot of Mom Leahy's out there. All right. Kevin, final word. Benefit of the meeting and thoughts.
Well, I could reiterate everything everyone else said, so I won't. It's nice to meet people for the first time. We've met before. But I go back to like what you say at our budget hearing every year with Tom, Jenny, Rich. I'm sorry if I don't know the others. The homegrown talent we have that volunteers in this town is
Unbelievable.
unbelievable. Your background with benefits and everything, and you're a volunteer. I think this is gonna work.
And can I just say one more thing, because I feel like I didn't answer your question.
Just make sure your microphone is
Sorry.
on and you're speaking into it for the
Sorry.
TV.
So I wanted to make sure that I answer your question. So I know you asked about the challenges, and I have to be honest, coming from the COVID years and coming into this agency, I have to give credit to the first selectman. He supported the OVNA. I think we've serviced generations of families, his own mother, our families, and I think that's, when I came into the OVNA, we were in the position where they were thinking of closing us, and there were 17 patients. I think it's important to understand that we went from 17 patients to 150 patients, thousands of patients per year that we're servicing. And I think, I want to make sure that I recognize that. I think Jim Zioli really supported the OVNA, and I think that there was a point, and I'm sure you all agree with this, that it was going to be closed. So I think my biggest challenge when I first came in is that there was no patients. There were no marketing. There was no marketing availability. We didn't have any representation. We were not working with any of the hospitals. We were not taking any referrals, and we had no staff. So in this way, I felt like we were building the VNA from the ground up, even though we've been 90 years in business. So there have been many challenges, but I feel like as a team approach, we've really come a long way, and it would be really tragic to end it now.
And you came in 23,
Yes, it's only, right, correct. And remember, there was a little, I had said this to Jim Leahy when I first started, when he first met me, and he probably wasn't too happy with me, but I said, when you're starting, this is a start over. I had my own company, I did a startup, and that was very challenging, and it was $1.5 million investment. I said it's gonna take a little bit of investment, and that's why you see in 2024, we had to attract staff. There was no staff when I started. So I think that that's really important to just understand that, and it's a team approach.
The other thing is, we have ideas about the benefits, as you can imagine, as well. Because the benefits are town benefits, not necessarily healthcare benefits. So that's another line of discussion we'd like to engage with you all on, is how do we make competitive benefits for nurses and therapists that aren't necessarily town benefits? And we have some line of sight as to how we could do that. So that will save some money. To your point, it could save money immediately if we enacted it.
There's been a lot of things been talked about that didn't make it on these slides, but,
yes.
if you just take the overall, and I'll just throw that up so people could see that there was an improvement on the revenues that you articulated there, Marissa. There's a lot of things. You can't, I keep on saying this, and I'll go back to this slide, I forget where it is, it must be here perhaps. You cannot understand your current state good enough. You can never. You think you know it. It's like going around your house. You think you know where everything is, yeah? When you're analyzing a work process, my common thing to everybody is, you know what it really is, guys? Cleaning out your garage. And everybody knows what that means, all right, usually, all right? And every once in a while, you see Saturday early, somebody's going down to the garage with an extra thing on the back, you know, because they cleaned out their garage. And it's similar to that when you start looking at stuff. You really, why are we doing that, you know? I mean, let's get rid of that, you know? Stuff like that. So we're in the early phase. We got time. We have some goodness on our side. We have good leadership. We have good people. And for one, I'm willing to be working with them. So I thank you all for being here. And Kevin, I'll give the meeting back to you.
Okay,
That's all I have.
If I just may, on behalf of the board, thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you tonight. We think it's mutually beneficial to all of us, and also a special thanks to Jim for naturally doing the slides and guiding the process going through. So thank you,
Absolutely.
everyone.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you for
How
coming.
do we get
Thank you.
the town to know that you were ranked in the top 25 in the country? Because I was not aware of that.
We write an article and we put it in the paper.
There's a flag in the front yard.
No, we write an article and we put it in the paper.
That's it.
We can do other things.
The way people drive on Orange Center Road, I'm not looking at flags.
They don't see it.
There's no,
right.
we have to put a camera near the flag. It's been in it's been on social media, but it has to go to the Orange Town Times, so your recommendation is advisable.
Okay.
Yeah,
And the
absolutely.
last thing for me is, because it's a tight-knit thing, I'd have to, Maria has helped so many families I know personally. And she's been great.
Maria.
My name wasn't on the slide,
That was only version 15, Maria. Don't worry, we got a lot of versions ahead of us.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for putting up with these slides, and Kevin, we'll throw we'll
Okay.
throw the meeting back to, here we go, the agenda's right up there.
Thank you guys for coming in.
Good.
Nice
Thank
meeting
you very
Nice
much.
meeting you. Yeah, nice meeting
Good,
you. Yeah.
thank you, thank you.
Back.
Yep, Ginny, yeah, good to see you. Yeah, yeah.
Still partying? Oh, you did, okay.
Get back to the Yankees.
Oh, well, of course you're getting You're taking a break?
We're still on the air, guys.
Nice meeting you. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it, really. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Jim, we are,
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, quick.
Thank you. No, I mean it. You were, people you don't know, I know still, so. All right, we're on the air.
We're back.
That we've never been off, so let's get back to it.
Keep going.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, John,
Gavel,
Back.
Kev, gavel.
Okay, we're gonna continue the meeting, it's gonna be on OGAT, so,
Jim, it hasn't stopped. Get back.
Come on, let's go. No break.
Okay. Sorry for anybody who's watching this debacle,
No.
the chaos that just happened. Well, we're back. So we have item number 7, discussion and approval of minutes from May 20th, 2026 special
John, you
meeting.
batting lead off here?
Let me get it out. I don't see anything that I had. Hold on one second. I got I do have something. Page 2,
Page 2,
under March 26, 26 special meeting.
yes?
And the motion, Mr. McNamara made a motion to approve the amended
Board.
board.
It looks like my type of spelling.
And that's all
The
I.
benchmarks.
By the one, the
That's
one
all I
underneath
had.
that has the same thing. The one underneath that has the same thing, so there could be a couple of borads in here.
All right. I only caught one Borad.
Yeah, okay. Let me see, I have one, I believe, yes. Page 1, the bottom paragraph. You ready? Mr. Leahy noted that if a transfer of $1.5 million is approved, the fund balance would be reduced. Well, there are two things that happened in that meeting. One, I was talking about the different types of fund balance. And the other, I believe we ended, John, with the 15.70 is our fund balance at the official one. What I did say was that, and I think, oh, I see. What I said, Kevin, was, both Kevins, if you remember, I had said, well, why don't we give $1.5 million for the roads? And you guys said, no. Kevin, you particularly said, I'm getting uncomfortable getting too close to the line. And so I said, okay, I'll agree with you. So what I said was, if it was 15.7, I believe the number came to like 15.13. In addition, I had mentioned, just hold the thought on how we edit this. In addition, I had said earlier, I'm really getting tired of, people saying the fund balance is 22 and then it's 15 and this, because every year when we do it, we have, okay, here's our bank account, and we say, and we're basically at like a 17%, and how we squeeze money in to be able to fit and still be above 15. So knowing that there were two thoughts there, and I'm not going to say we should do them both, Mr. Leahy noted that if the transfer amount is approved, the fund balance would be reduced to 15 point, and I'll
Yeah, that's what I would do.
1.3 as of July, okay? Then I would say, but he agreed with the board that we would maintain that transfer, and we should say, back where it says, Mr. Layden, a transfer of $101.5 million for road paving, okay, or for paving, is approved, the fund balance would be reduced to 15.13 as of that. Through discussion, new statement, all right, the board agreed to only fund $1 million for road paving, leaving the fund balance at 15.70% as of July. You can make the same as of July 20. I think that if you gave us a version like that, Deb, that would be fun. Now, currently, that feels like a different thought. So to me, I would start like an indent over here, Deb, but don't, it's still a discussion about that same topic, but rather than have it be in the same paragraph, because it has nothing to do with the same paragraph. from the word currently on. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
In other words, give a little space, and then just how you have it indented over here, just start with the word currently and keep on rolling with that. I think that would be a good way to communicate that information.
Okay.
If you got that, Kevin, I have no other edits from my point of view.
Okay.
My first question on that is, did the fund balance truly get reduced from almost 25% to 15?
No, we're gonna take, no, we're gonna take that out.
The 25,
What was it, what was it?
the 25% is the fund balance for all the funds
Oh, okay.
together.
I was- I didn't
And
drop
then
that much.
remember, if you take out what we have on the OV&A, it starts dropping it down.
Right.
Because it's basically a loan right now between
Right,
the,
okay.
the two.
Yeah, that's why
funds.
that 24 just comes
Yeah.
out. Jim
Right.
took it out,
Yeah, got
it's
it,
out.
yeah.
Okay.
So did that motion pass on the 1,000,005?
Yeah, you made it.
I made it,
The
right,
next
yeah,
page.
it did
But
pass.
it wasn't for paving, though. It was
for-
to move the money
It was the
from
capital,
general
it
fund.
was the
capital.
capital
Right,
funds, right,
right.
right, yeah.
The paving.
Yeah, it was
we
just
had
only a
in.
million, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we have a motion to approve as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Second by Kevin. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Yes, all in favor? yeah,
Say aye.
Yeah, I just wanna make
Unanimous.
sure. Okay.
All right,
Save her
good.
from going back and look at the tape to
The-
know what we said.
Since we're talking about fund balance and we're gonna go to the budget reports.
Yeah, item 8.
We gotta notice that our asphalt cost has gone up because of oil.
Sure.
So I don't know what it's gonna be, but he may have
We
to
knew
come
that was gonna
back
happen.
Yeah, we
And
knew.
ask us for money.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna move to, are we gonna start with revenue rather than,
Yeah,
now, do we do the treasurer's or do we do yours?
it's up to you guys.
Well, which one's,
Let's just do yours, I guess.
I made a motion, Kevin second, all in favor? Okay, I made- we made this draft.
okay, here's the,
Again, like I said the last few months in a row, I don't think we're gonna hit our budget in revenue. Again,
Okay.
and I'll give you the specific areas. Actually,
The
I
permits is
outlined
for
it-
sure.
I outlined them in red.
Building inspection fees.
In-
okay, so
Yeah.
if we could go to this document, but the way it's written, John, he is saying that he thinks that we're going to beat it by about 196,000.
Right,
Thank you.
and I
You
don't.
don't think so?
And I don't think so.
Okay,
Like
so
I
you're,
didn't think
you're
so
his
last
boss, so
year.
we go right to here. Go right ahead. Oh, which one, John? You wanna go
Okay.
here? You mentioned the red,
We
which is
could-
right here.
We could go here, we could go building inspection. We're not gonna collect, $221,000, whatever that number is.
No, that doesn't look likely.
I
Okay,
know, we're into the middle of June now. Even if they haven't posted any June, we're not gonna get near that number. I don't know what it's gonna be, but we're not gonna get near that number.
okay, so he is agreeing with you in that he's saying you're gonna be down 250,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we're saying 462,000.
Oh, you're saying,
Well, I'm not really saying anything, I'm just saying we're not gonna make
Right.
that.
okay, you got two, Kevin.
Yeah,
Right.
462.
What Kevin's referring to, team, and the audience up above, the 462,000 is, we have two revenue reports, anybody watching will get. One is the one that comes out of Munis, which we'll call John's, and then the which is the Director of Finance. And then they have the treasurer who makes his own estimate of the end of the year. So his end of the year, and John has highlighted where the red means he doesn't think so. All right? So he has questions on the building inspection, and Kevin's comment was the 462 over here. Am I reading you right, Kevin?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's go back to your second one, Johnny, on the tax collection. You're quizzical about getting 500, almost 600,000 here.
Right.
Is that correct?
We're not gonna get.
And if we
that
go
either.
over here, we'll see what this thing is saying. It probably is only the actual. We're only down 300,000,
310.
310.
A month ago.
But we have to give the caveat,
Not even a month, because depending on where they're posted to.
Yep, yep.
I
so,
mean, there is, what, a 60-day collection on
Yep.
taxes?
After,
We
yeah.
may
Yep.
pick up some, because when they come in to pay their new taxes,
Right.
if they owe back taxes, first it goes towards the back taxes.
Correct, correct.
And then to the new.
okay,
But-
but if I may, make sure everybody in our audience knows this. At some point in the future, we will get that money in 18%. Because it's already overdue, is that correct?
Eventually,
Yes.
That is true, yes.
eventually,
Okay, eventually. But for this particular year, we are down 310
right.
per this thing here. Okay, did you have anything else in red in the treasurer's report, Johnny?
Yeah, if we go to the second page, town clerk, we have
Town
30,000
clerk,
still to
30,000.
collect in conveyance fee. We only have a month to go there, we're probably not gonna collect all
All
that.
right, so if we go to the other one where we have town clerk, which is right, why did I miss it, Johnny?
It's right below tax collector.
Right below it, yep. Gotta go back up.
John,
Oh,
less
I
sales
have to go
in
back
town
up.
conveyance, less-
Oh,
less
there you go,
storage,
thank you, guys.
No inventory. It's
So
Charles.
here,
That's what it
we're
comes
only
from.
down 15, Johnny, on this one.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
No, it's not terrible, but I don't think we're gonna make it.
Okay, so you got 3 little red flags there. Okay, other things in the Munis thing,
I think that's it.
in the, there's one in pool memberships,
Oh,
and
there's one that
refuse.
refuge charges, the
Right.
28,000. I don't think we're gonna make that.
And he is estimating that it's gonna be actually 47,000 to the bad for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know where,
I don't know how he got that,
Yeah.
because
Which one are you on? Where are you now?
page 3.
I'm on
refuge
page 3
charges.
of the treasurer one, Kev. You see that 28,000 in red, or whatever, it's circled?
26,000, yep.
20
28, yeah, 28.
8, okay. I wanna make sure you're with us, Kev. You good?
No,
Okay.
you're on page 3.
Okay, no, hold on.
Page three
I'm on the
is-
treasurer, right?
He's on the
Oh, I'm
treasurer
not looking
report,
at that
yeah.
one.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought
Sorry.
I thought at the beginning of this, we said we're gonna go with John's numbers.
Well,
not-
he said he did, but he then said, I'm identifying him on the red, on the treasurer's report, and then I was going back and forth on the
Yeah.
screen. My
It's
bad,
on
as the
page
saying.
4 of the Munis report.
Yep. So the refuse is down 64 on this one. So
Right.
it's even worse.
Yeah, I have that one highlighted.
Okay. We'll stick with this one, Kevin. I think this is gonna be.
What are those charges, John? Refuse.
I believe that's the 15 cents we charge you when you go through the gate there with certain things, items. Apparently you didn't hit that on Saturday.
No, why don't you have brush?
See, if you bring home,
Talking about violations,
yeah,
Joe.
if you go in the area where the cement is, I think it is, if you're over 250 pounds, you get charged 15 cents a pound.
All right. If we
So the
could-
UNH 100,000, we're not gonna get that,
I
right?
think we're gonna get it when they close. actually.
When they
When they
sell.
close, so
Yeah.
it's
I
another one of
believe when they
those.
sell.
Will that be an 18% also? It's late.
No, that's
That's not
it's
taxes.
not, it's just a
It's just
That's
donation.
a,
Straight
that's
pilot.
Oh, grant,
a side
yeah.
agreement with
Okay.
them.
Straight
And I
pilot,
think the
straight
other
pilot.
spot where we're not gonna get is pool membership.
Okay. We're
He's
down.
brought it down, but I don't think we're gonna get $6,000 in 4 weeks.
Well, you got 13 negative and you got 8 positive underneath, right? So you're only down less than 5.
Yeah.
Anyway, as a percentage, if you count the credit card one, which I think is the second one.
Yeah, so that's,
Anything else?
that's kinda it. I think I
Kinda.
figure we may be down about off budget around 300,000 in the revenue area,
Okay,
which will be a first for us,
Yeah.
First in a long time.
yeah.
okay, so that
I
would be,
mean, I've been in
it's
this job
covered
10
by,
years now.
It's never happened.
Yeah,
so Johnny,
it might be something to worry about with the new year with taxes, if it's a slowdown and people able to pay their.
Well, permits and then the conveyance fees, there's no inventory, I mean, a lot of those
You're not
numbers are
getting
coming,
activity.
we dropped them.
Johnny, can we get a list of what 310,000, or is it like no one knows but Dr. Doom?
I won't be able to give you a good one because.
No, I don't
it's-
want to, that someone could summarize this is heavily commercial. This is heavily, 2 residential things haven't paid and they are 150,000.
Oh, you mean a list of who the people have?
Not a list, but a sense of it, because I don't think a list we want,
So in other words, you wanna know of the taxes that aren't paid,
correct?
what different columns.
What
they're in.
kind of categories?
Is it
get-
Route 1, is it,
Yeah, yeah.
is it
you
all
know,
residential?
Commercial, yeah, right.
Is there a way to do that?
Well, Tom has to know who
Let me-
hasn't paid. He can run a report, cause I
Yeah,
remember
I
getting
don't
one
know-
years ago.
I don't know how he could only classify it though, I think in the ways we have it on here. You know what I mean? I don't think he classify it by Route One, most of
Well,
commercial is
commercial,
on Route One.
Listen, how about this? Anybody who owes more than $5,000, all right?
Oh, I'm sure I could get you a list.
We've
of
had those
that.
reports before. It's been a
Yeah.
long time, but we've had them.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
gotta.
degenerate, let me see if I can
But
get
I think
you
we'll have to
that.
keep that, I don't know, I don't want it up on here, okay, because I don't think that's the right thing to do.
No.
But, and I'm not sure I want to read it too deeply either, but I'd like to have a little bit of, but here's what I'm saying, guys. We're down 300, poor John, but we're down also 300 in the revenue we know we're going to get. So it's when we get the money, but it is very different from other years. Very different from other years, right? Okay.
Okay, expenses.
All right, so we're done with those two.
Okay, we still have two payrolls to be charged.
That's what I was gonna
here.
say. I looked at this and it looks like,
We
It
still
does, it's
got
not
two.
low, yeah,
We-
it's not
we
low.
and
still
there's
got-
some payrolls that are
Yeah,
like
the two
almost
pay-
used up.
Two payrolls are gonna be about $1.1 million probably for the two.
Okay, Johnny, so the back.
The other thing you're gonna see on the clerical union, I never moved the money in for their back money and raised their rates. That's why you're gonna see all the
You're gonna see some
negative.
overages.
Yeah,
But if I
right.
go to like page 2, and I'm just simple, salary AP clerk under the finance
That's what
department.
he's talking
That's
about.
what I'm talking about.
So that's a negative.
That's what he's
Right,
talking about.
because their contract was signed last fall, late fall. We had to do a retro and we had to give them the increase this year. I never did move money into that account to cover that.
Okay.
It's just, it's just kind of a waste of time, valuable time right now. And you're gonna see it on the police department also.
I mean, at this point, you might as well just true it up.
But like
at the end of the year.
the building,
Well,
and
that, or I'm just gonna let the money we have in negotiation settlement just go back to fund balance, it'll be the same thing.
but when I look at like the building inspector salary, there's still,
Which page you on, Kev?
now I'm on 3 at the top. That,
That's because his salary is less than what was budgeted,
okay.
and we're gonna be.
So we will
we're gonna
have a
be-
little extra in
We're
those.
gonna be advertising for a new building inspector, he's retiring.
Yeah, those guys are hard to come by these days.
Legal, we probably
What
have
page, Johnny?
page
4.
4.
Thank you.
Legal, we probably still have 25 to 40,000 worth of bills to still pay there.
So
And
you-
again, that has to do with the police problem down there.
Okay, so you're expecting
So you got an encumbrance.
60,000 overage in the legal?
Could be 50.
50? Thank you.
50. And then the snow removal, which I've talked about many a
Yeah.
time. And the other thing that's over in a lot of the accounts is the utilities. The electricity, because of that public benefit that went way up during the year. And the telephone company, quite interesting. Frontier raised their rates quite a bit, both on our side and on the Board of Ed's side and everybody. Because if you look at the poles outside, they want to get rid of the copper wiring on the poles because they're running out of room to run the fiber optics on the poles. So they're jacking everybody's bill up that's still on copper. And what we have is, we have all our fire and burglary alarms on copper. So we're looking to switch them now. We're being forced to switch them to fiber optic.
Who's doing that for you, Frontier?
Frontier's charging us for it,
To do
but to do it, but we're going to our alarm companies to have to switch over.
John, on page 6, I'm just eyeballing a few of these electricity things. And I'm seeing near the bottom of the page, fourth from the bottom, there's electricity that's running at about 70%.
That
just-
one-
Town hall, yep.
Yeah,
Probably
I'm
ain't caught up yet.
yeah.
Oh, that's a lot of
No,
catching
it's
up.
not, because most of the bills are paid. We're just probably over in that account from what we've
I wish I
used.
knew,
And we have done some electrical work here where it might have saved some money. Some of the air conditioning, some of the heating.
Tom,
Now,
when you looked at that Amity thing Joe presented, the degree days were only up like 1 or 2%.
The funny thing on that, though, they were talking about degree days, if I'm not mistaken, on electricity. Don't they heat that building with gas? They heat that building with electricity, or one of their buildings?
The high school, is the high school heated by gas? Or they have some solar too out there.
Yeah, so,
But is there a gas line over there? I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know.
It's so off the beaten path.
Because if they're heating by electricity, then that would be up.
Oh, yeah, that would be, but that's a rebuilt building. It shouldn't be electricity.
I don't
800,
think
that was
so,
a
but I
kilowatts,
don't,
right? Kilowatts. Yeah. It was 800,000 kilowatts.
do they have oil accounts someplace? I mean, I don't remember what the middle school was heated with.
I mean, if you're
Oil.
over 20% what you had budgeted,
It was a
to me,
cold
like,
winter,
somebody should
though.
do a quick analysis of where the hell that's electricity going. I mean, I don't know.
Stuff's running all the time. I mean, who knows?
I don't know, well, whatever it is, but
They could have had a rate change, or did they have a locked?
No, that's
in-
kilowatts.
Did they have a locked-in
Yeah.
rate? with
So
a
municipalities
third-party
get hit with the
Kevin,
public
we were looking
benefits
at
too?
kilowatts, remember?
No,
So
I know,
the
yeah.
public
Yeah.
benefit could be 10% of that increase right there.
What's that?
The public benefit charge.
Oh.
I can't believe they're charging municipalities and
Oh,
schools
yeah,
that.
you look at our bills, some of our bigger
Okay.
areas.
'Cause that's disgusting.
Yeah,
Johnny, Kev, go right ahead. What page?
The election printing under the town clerk, we have a 19, so there's nothing else to do, so we will have 20,000. Okay, I wanna make sure about that.
Okay. Just yell out the page number, we'll go right to it for the team on the TV.
Yeah, I go to the
we're
same on
over,
page 7.
we're over
Seven.
on postage also. There's been about 4, I think, postage increases
Oh, yeah.
in the last year.
Going up, by the way, buy those stamps now, they're going up a lot. I'm gonna get my 300 for Christmas, Joe.
So
Now.
the registrars, John, those are all settled, because we're not having any other elections right now, between now and the end of the month?
Yeah, that should be good,
So those
other than
temporary
their
salaries and
salaries. Yeah, you can see both registrars are over. The
Yep.
Democratic one, she's new, and she had to take some classes, so
So-
that's why hers is a little more over than
Yeah,
the
$2,000 more, yep.
Republican one. But also, the extended voting, they get paid for that, because
Mm-hmm.
it's a voting day, so that's the other thing, wasn't figured in this budget.
Okay, other things, team, that's page 7, anything else on 7 or other page? Johnny, I have a question on the back here, you're trying to educate us, so why don't you do so? So we're looking here, we know we have a budget of 86 on the first column. We transferred 1.8, makes it 87.9. We have a number where we expended, but we also encumber, so you're adding the 1.5. So tell us how to read what you're trying to communicate here on the back page, on page
Okay,
24.
what I did is, I did an adjustment for the 1.5 million that you transferred to capital.
Correct.
So on that first column there, year expended, it shows the 1.5 million is up in the capital account on page 23.
Oh, prior
If you
page.
look under capital, it's 1,530,000.
Yep.
There it is, I see it right there, yeah. Roger
So I
that.
took it out of there to give you a good number in capital. And I
Okay.
took it out of the bottom, so right now you've only expended 83,959. And then over in the available budget, I had to add it back in. So what it's saying is we have 2.3 million to still expend to get
Okay.
to,
To get to that number.
right.
Okay. And your thoughts on our forecast on where we'll be July 1st?
We may be negative here, I'm not sure yet.
Negative meaning we'll be over?
We'll be over the budget,
You think so?
yeah. Well, remember, we got 1 million, 1.1 million
Payroll.
in payroll, and then I'm not sure what what is gonna be this 2 days after the 2 payrolls also. So we gotta take 2/10 or whatever that day is.
Okay, so if you had to get within 30,000 of what it would be when Michelle shows us in January, and I have front row tickets to the Yankees World Series in Yankee Stadium, what would you be estimating would be
I can't-
our final number on the expense side only?
I can't take that bet, because I don't know what adjustments still need to go in and things like that.
Based on history, would it be 250,000?
It's gonna be close.
Close to,
The closest we've ever had
Close-
been in
close to
20 years.
0 or negative.
okay. Close to 0 or negative, we'll take as your estimate. That question was only to get you to say something.
I think it was 400,000, yeah.
Okay.
All right,
And
any-
in this
It's gonna be
budget,
the,
Kev,
it's
we
gonna be
did-
the closest we've ever been.
yep,
In this budget, Kevin, we put 500,000 from fund balance in this budget, did we not?
Yes.
yeah, we put it in for
But we
VNA.
didn't put it in for the current budget we're going into.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, this budget has the half a
Okay.
million.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
Any other questions?
No, it's a good thorough analysis in my
All
mind.
right, Mr. McNabola.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Second.
Oh, Joe got it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, unanimous. Meeting
All right.
adjourned at 9:12. Thank you
right,
all very
the markup
much.
is up.